Hey, it's Mac with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and it is Tuesday. It's December 12th. This will be our chart lesson for today. And just looking at the daily chart, the rally continues 4 days in a row now, straight up. Just continue to go straight. We've pushed out of this tight range. We really kind of pushed out there, pulled back, and it looked like we were going to just kind of expand it, but we kept pushing higher. Measured move is up here, and that's getting us close to a retest of these highs, which is what it looks like we're probably trying to do, as I talked about yesterday. We've got a breach. Well, just look at how that high was 47.3650. So that's probably going to be our target, it looks like. But we'll see what happens. As of now, we continue to go higher. But let's flip over to the intraday chart and take a look at it. And here's our 2000 tick chart. And you can see that we trended down. We left a gap here. This is where we opened this morning. This is where we closed yesterday. And generally the market will fill that gap pretty quickly. And it looked like we were going to fill that gap and maybe try to go lower, but this thing just kept going higher and accelerated into after lunch into the afternoon when the volume really thinned out up there. So really it looked like it was pretty much a range day. I wouldn't call this a range day because we spent most of the day going higher. But what I would say here is that we tested these highs and eventually pushed higher, but it was well after the 2:30, so we wouldn't be trading out there. I mean, if you're already in a trade, there's no reason you can't hold on to it a little while, but just don't enter any new trades after 2:30. So anyway, I called this a mildly weak uptrend until here. It was pretty strong here, and then we just really from about 9 till about noontime, it was just weakly up, and then it took off again. So interesting day. This thing just continues to go higher. They can't keep this market down. It struggles to go higher, but in the end it does. A lot of times they take it up when the volume's thin. But they took it up this morning and again this afternoon. So don't argue with it. Whatever it does, go with it. That's the thing. Follow the price action. Don't listen to what people say. Don't listen to the news. Just go with what the price action gives you. And it was pretty much up from 8:30 on, just after 8:30 till the close. I mean, we were going higher into the close. So. But let's zoom in. Not a lot of trades again. There were some news items this morning. You kind of had to sit tight and wait for that to finish up. But we'll go through the trades real quick. This won't take long. Again, we had this news item, so you need to be flat by 7:15. So there really wasn't a good chance to enter this until after the news. And we're just chopping lower here. You finally get a break right here, and you also get a second entry, but it's a little failed break out of a range too. But it's clearly by the count a second entry. You could call that a double bottom, and then there's a hidden second entry there too. Big bearish signal bar right at the EMA, first close outside this channel. That's a great place to enter. And if you catch that entry, that may be the only one you need all day. You might get a runner there. You get another second entry right here. I'm not as crazy about this one, but it does try to go higher multiple times and fails. And when it broke below this bar right here, that is a second entry short. The problem is you're going short right into the lows, and it looks a little congested as well. And if you draw your measured move, it's pretty much a measured move as well. So it's a little dangerous going short there, but it is a downtrend. It looks like there's two legs in that first leg, so you may get another leg down. And we end up getting a good bit more than that. You actually could, once it continued going lower, you actually could continue to draw your trend line here and just stay with this trend. There's not really any other good entries here regardless, but once it continues to go on like that, just draw your other trend line if you want. Generally, we don't draw the retest. It's usually pretty straightforward, but sometimes the trend keeps going. So in this case, it finally flattened out. This was tempting, but you're trying to pick a bottom, and you're trying to pick it in congestion here as well. I didn't mark that. It's a possibility. The problem was you didn't make it to we tried to go through the midline 3 times, and so you don't have much room to the midline there, and that's the main reason I didn't mark that. I was going to mark it green, but I'm not even going to. I just sit tight and wait. If you'd got a good signal bar here, maybe, but it just takes off, and there's just nowhere to enter in here until finally you get a perfect second entry right at the key entry point, right at the EMA with a great signal bar. You see that high, first entry, second entry. It's a little failed break again out of some congestion. Just go long right there. That's as simple as it gets, really. And then we're working sideways again, and you get a little failed break lower that closes inside. I marked this one green because there's not really enough room to get out there, and you got to be concerned about that. It's the first break, so your prices will probably make a new low, but it might take it a few times before it does, even if it's going to reverse. So you got to be careful getting long here without room to get out. So if you took this one, I would wait. I'd let it break higher and drop a limit order in. And you could have gotten filled further back in this. I would have tried to get a little better entry to make sure you had 6 ticks there. And then you get 2 legs up and a second entry short right there. So now you've got a break, 2 legs up, a big bearish bar. The problem is it still made a new high, and it could push up again. But it is a channel here, and it did fail on the breakout. So maybe you still take that. It would have been a nice, easy scalp, but it's a little bit aggressive, so we'll leave it at that. And then you actually run up and get another leg up, and then you just start working sideways. You do get a triple test here with a lower high. I like going short there. And finally, you get a triple test here. This is all one test. 2, and then you went higher and came back 3. Again, I made this one green because it couldn't get through that midline, and it could do that again. So even though you get a triple test, there's some things to be concerned, especially when it didn't break higher right here. If this would have broke on higher, maybe you go on long there, but when it didn't break higher right there, that's a warning signal. Be careful. I marked it green, and it would have worked, but you would have had to ride some of this out. And then it's tempting to go short again here. You can't enter that on the engulfing bar because it has no body. I don't like entering those on the engulfing bar, and if you enter here, you don't have room to get out. So you just have to sit tight, and then it breaks out, and you get a failed break lower. And notice it's 2 legs down, and there's a second entry long right there. Again, you're better off to wait on a higher low, but you don't always get a higher low. And this is a little aggressive, but I like these sometimes because typically they become important lows. And you can see this was an important low for the day because that's the lowest prices made again the rest of that day. So if you catch that, you may get to ride this whole thing up. Either way, you still got a nice run up right there, and then a second entry short. And again, I marked it green here. This one was engulfing bar. You could enter this on an engulfing bar, and then if you had enough room back. The only reason I didn't make this red is because we're still pushing higher here. The trend is up, and it's you keep thinking this trend's ending, but it just keeps going higher. So you got to be careful trying to pick tops. Here, it's a second entry short, a good signal bar. It's possibly time for this thing to correct. You're way away from the EMA. There's reasons to like that, but it is aggressive, so just be careful with it. And then we jump up and we're going sideways here. And again, you get a 1, 2, 3 triple test. Nice signal bar, plenty of room. I like that one. Runs up, working back again. Again, there's a second entry here, but this is your signal bar. You can't go long above that. This is one of those strong trends, but you really don't get a signal bar that ever breaks lower here. So you never really get a setup, even if you recognize it. And then we're just flat right into the 2:30 hour. So again, the volume's a little low. but it was really uphill from about 840 on. Got a little sideways in here, but continued higher. And like I said, we closed into the very high up here, making a new high for the day. So this thing wants to go higher. We got to go with it. Um, I want to go back and look at the daily chart one more minute before we close this up. And here it is. And you can see we're pushing back up into overbought territory again. We could push all the way up into the other side, but really the last few times we kind of got into this section, we'd sell off. So, but a market can stay overbought longer than you would expect. So this thing could keep going higher. So I think there's room to go higher here. I think there's some targets up here as well. We've got this measured move target on this range. We've got the retest of this high. Those are all targets we're shooting for that I think prices are shooting for. We do clearly have a close outside here and a push to a new high now. So once we reach those, we could see a correction. When that's going to happen, who knows? So like I said, as long as this thing keeps going higher, just keep going with it. And that's all we can do. Follow the price action. Don't listen to the news. Don't listen to that little voice in your head. Unless that voice in your head matches what the chart says, don't listen to it, because it'll talk you into doing crazy things. So anyway, the economy's a mess in my opinion, but this thing just keeps going higher on every news item. Every economic news item that comes out looks beautiful. But I think if you go out and spend money every day, you know this economy's a mess, really. So I think it's all smoke and mirrors, but that doesn't matter. All that matters is this thing is going up. That's all we care about. That's why we don't listen to the news, because I think they write the news to match the market anyway. So anyway, stay with this uptrend as long as it's there. If it starts selling off, then we'll go south with it. For now, I mean, for 4 days now, it's gone up, 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 up. So best thing we can do is just ride along with it. And when it turns down, that's when we'll go down with it. But anyway, not much else you can say about today. It's just a continuation of what we've been seeing. The market keeps pushing higher, kind of in spurts. Today was a little more of a consistent uptrend than what we've been seeing, because what'll happen, it'll go sideways and then spurt up and then sideways, and it's hard to catch those. Even today there weren't a lot of entries. The volume's still real low. So we'll see what happens tomorrow, but I'm going to wrap it up for today. This is Matt with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and we'll